Hello everyone, I hope you're having an amazing day. I am Catie Brannon, and today's episode is, well, kind of like true crime, but not really. It is a crime that is literally going unpunished. Today I'm actually drinking out of my Catitude mug that was given to me from my mom. And it's white chocolate mocha coffee with my little Nespresso machine, and it is a gift, by the way. That was a great gift. And also it has collagen peptides. So that is my drink today. But without further ado, I'm going to be talking about something that it is literally the silent killer of North America, and it's pretty much killing people all over the world. No one is really talking about it because there is such thing as, you know, profit over people. Yeah, it's rough. So this is going to be a different kind of format, you guys, but thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for listening or watching. I'm so grateful to you. Now, I will tell you how I got onto this topic. So with my videos, I like to say how I got on this topic. So this is an opioid. There's an opioid epidemic, and I'm going to talk about kind of how it started, what was the first opioid, and then what is the opioid that is killing everyone really quickly right now. It is fentanyl, and it is a very, very scary thing. And you may be thinking, well, Catie, I don't do drugs. I don't. And I was like, that's fine. I don't either. But this stuff is being like secretly they're putting into prescriptions. Like, I mean, they're putting into cannabis, they're putting them into cocaine, to prescription pills like Xanax, ADHD medication, depression medication, heroin, which is like, oh my God. So this is a really serious matter. So I have been researching this for days. I've watched 2 documentaries, been watching, and I will let you know what I have been researching on in the middle of my podcast. I have a lot of things written down. So like I said, this format is going to be different because I literally went and watched and read all kinds of things. And yeah, it's insane, you guys. I just cannot believe how more things are not being done. But how other countries are doing different things that America is not. America has started to see what's going on, but again, money, people. Money is just the main culprit here. Oh, and greed, which, you know, hand in hand with a lot of money. So how I came to fentanyl. Now, I do not want to hurt anyone's feelings, or I do not want to bring up anybody's dirty laundry, but I honestly have dealt with fentanyl a lot in my life. And me personally, no, I don't really drink, I don't smoke, I don't do any of that, which is fine. I mean, I'm not, you know, you do you, boo-boo, but that's just who I am. But I've had loved ones that passed away from fentanyl. I had someone experiment with it, or another person who didn't even know that it was in the prescription drugs. No idea. I've also had someone who was addicted to it and lost everything, including their children. I just saw on social media someone who I went to school with gone from that. Loved ones have been affected by fentanyl so much. It's like unreal, and yet people are being like pushed under the rug. So without any further ado, if you know someone who was suffering from an opioid addiction, there are centers out there, and please know that you are in my prayers, and I'm sending all the positive energy to you, because this is a huge deal. It is not to be taken lightly, and there are resources now because eyes are opened, but there needs to be way more to be done. So without further ado, we're going to get into the beginning, and I'm going to jump around, okay? And I'm just going to say a lot of facts as well. If you have any comments about this video, please let me know down in the comments below. And please know that you are loved, you are cherished, and going to drugs is not the right answer. But I'm letting you know that I was judgmental of people on drugs. Me being a Virgo, I guess it comes hand in hand, am I right? So finds out that drug users, actually, it started from pharmacies, prescriptions, from doctors who we are supposed to, you know, go to for pain and suffering. That's why they go to medical school, is to ease pain and suffering. So without further ado, I'm going to be talking about the #1 silent killer of the United States, fentanyl. Now, fentanyl is a synthetic opioid. It is 50 times powerful than heroin, 100 times powerful than morphine. And it comes in, like I said, heroin, cocaine, counterfeit pills, even marijuana, which a lot of the places in the United States now are legalized, okay? In 2021 to 2022, more than 60,000 died from overdose, according to CDC. Now, that's only 1 year. That's it, 1 year. Now, Narcan is pretty much the antidote, okay? When someone's on fentanyl or a very strong opioid, you put Narcan, which Narcan is another narcotic. And it's like a stronger opioid I was reading about. And what they do, they inject it to build a wall, because when fentanyl enters your bloodstream, what it does, it affects your nervous system, it affects your pain receptors. Fentanyl is a pain, it's like a anti-pain medication. You know what I'm saying? It's more than just a muscle relaxer. It goes right into the nervous system. So what Narcan does, which needs to be more available, I feel like, you know, because in like Vancouver, people are carrying that like stuff around. It's insane. Vancouver is not doing good with the fentanyl epidemic at all, but they're getting better because of what I'm going to talk about during the documentary I will get to. So Narcan is sprayed up the nose, or it's injected, okay? And what it does, it builds a wall. So when the fentanyl is trying to get to your system, the Narcan, if you get it in your body quickly enough, it will build a wall to make sure fentanyl does not enter the bloodstream, okay? First documentary I watched was a Vancouver documentary. You can find that on YouTube. It is called Downtown East Side, $10 Death Trip. And it's all about fentanyl. And it's really, really hard to watch because, you know, you see these people and you see them at their worst, but then you want to realize that, you know, these were better people. These were one time, they were not so ill. So you have to remember that. So it is, what it says, it's stronger, it's cheaper, and it's easier to carry is fentanyl, and it's extremely addictive, like ridiculously addictive. Like I thought crack cocaine, rest in peace, Whitney Houston, talking about crack is too cheap, you know, crack is whack or something. Yeah, rest in peace, diva. But apparently fentanyl is way more addictive than crack. So we have famous fentanyl deaths. Now, I don't know if you guys remember HQ. It was a online game show that you literally downloaded from social media. And I played it a lot when it first came out. And then it just kind of like drifted off a little bit. And I could never kind of like make it on time. But I did win one time, you guys. I was very proud of myself. It was just like a few cents, but me seeing the "you won" on the screen was just like amazing. But I just found out that the creators of HQ died of fentanyl. It was in his heroin and he died. So after that happened, HQ kind of lost their, you know, their funding, and HQ is no more. I pray they bring HQ back, because having a game show at the palm of your hands was really cool. Plus, you learned a whole bunch of stuff. Another famous death was Prince, which I was like, what? Prince? They say Mac Miller. Yeah, absolutely insane. Perhaps David Bowie. We don't know, because we see celebrities saying, and famous people, that it was their medication. Could have been Michael Jackson. We don't know. But let me know down in the comments below who you know, celebrities that were fentanyl overdose. And also, if you know someone, a loved one, you can just put in a emoji heart. You don't even have to say their name. And when you put the intention of putting the emoji heart in the comments below, sending positive energy, because yeah, it's really sad, you guys. I will try so hard not to cry, but I may cry because this is really all right. So those are just like fentanyl deaths from like famous people, but there is so many more, you guys. Fentanyl is very lucrative, okay? Since everyone's addicted, it's a lot. They buy it from China, okay? And you can buy from China for like $350 and then turn around and make like 3 to 4 times profit. Now, fentanyl is actually made in India, China, and Mexico. The highest amount of fentanyl is the dark green pill, otherwise known as Fetty. And it is the highest amount. They call it the blue pill, but it looks like really dark green. Now with fentanyl, you can smoke it, you can sniff it, and you can inject it. It is, like I said, a pain relief, physical and mental. Now, according to the Vancouver documentary, clean needles are actually given to drug addicts to reduce the street overdoses, because it is so bad in Vancouver, you guys. It's so bad in Vancouver that they actually have tents around Vancouver where people hold Narcan, and they let people chill in the tents to let them do drugs, because they're gonna do it anyway because it's so addictive. And yeah, isn't that yeah. So you have these people that carry Narcan, and you have people that are just devoting their time into making sure people don't die. Clean needles are given to the drug addicts because for blood disease prevention. And I feel like that isn't like, I don't know. I mean, in the beginning I was very like, this is insane. Is it really that bad? And watching the documentary, it really is that bad. And you know, Vancouver is like not the only one. There needs to be more centers that help drug addicts. I mean, they even have centers in Vancouver that actually give you something higher than methadone. It's the equivalent to morphine or heroin, to make sure they don't go back to fentanyl. But they said with the drug users going to the clinic and getting stronger and being supervised, a lot of the time they want to like clean up their act, which is pretty amazing. You know, that they went from being homeless and on the streets doing drugs and being worried about being, you know, killed or just beaten up, and just not a good life on the streets. So I wanted to know, how do you know when someone is overdosing on fentanyl? Well, their lips are blue, their forehead is purple, and their face is so dark, it is like almost black, and which is nuts. That means there is a slim chance. They call it dragon. It's basically when you heat up heroin, it could be a spoon, it could be on like aluminum foil. People think it's heroin, but now they're putting fentanyl in it, and you're breathing it in. Like I said, you can breathe it in, and it's called the dragon, which is called smoking from the foil. So fentanyl has been described by users, it's more intense than heroin. It is described as a warm hug. That's like an aw, you know, a warm hug. So Switzerland actually started this awesome routine for people doing drugs with the tents, with the centers, giving out clean needles and drugs to the drug users. It was all started in Switzerland. Now you're wondering, well, why fentanyl, Caitlin? Like, where did it come from? Why is it on the streets? I will feed you, Buttercup. Don't you worry. So the type of fentanyl was actually developed for serious pain. I'm talking about the end of your life cancer pain, extreme, okay? That's why it was developed. Opioids actually have been around for thousands of years, okay? And we've had famous people be on opium and opioids, like Edgar Allan Poe, which, if you want to know, Edgar Allan Poe was really in poverty when he passed away. A little fun fact, sad, but FF, fun fact for you. Now, there has been so many opioids deaths since 2000. Now, this is what I was really scared to talk about, because I found out there is a Mexican cartel that is the highest distributor of fentanyl, and that is El Chapo. And El Chapo's son was actually caught. It's called Sinaloa Cartel, is the biggest one. And the deaths leading to fentanyl are 18 years old to 49. That's the #1 cause of death. Yeah, I know. I was thinking maybe heart attack, stress. No, it's fentanyl. So now we're visiting Portland, Oregon in my research. Portland, Oregon is, what is the city doing? They do have shelters. And they have shelters there that's trying to help drug addict people, turn homeless people, but you have to remember that there are so many beds there, and homeless people don't feel comfortable in shelters. I know, they'd rather be on the streets like 50-50. Because in the homeless shelters, when you're sleeping, they can steal from you, they can beat you up. It's just really, really sad. It's like a weird caste system classification. Doesn't matter like what you look like, where you're from. If you look like you have something like better shoes or a better shirt, someone will do what they can to rip it off your body. I know, it's scary. You think shelters are helping people. I really think they would be if we had more of them, if they were more supervised, if we had more education and awareness to the patients, to the addicts. So Portland, Oregon, like I said, they have shelters, and it's for rational thinking and trauma. Irrational thinking and trauma. That's what they were talking about. Why? Excuse me, I stutter sometimes. Why people suffer from trauma is because it could be mental, it could be physical, and they may go to the drug without realizing they're going to the drug. Discriminational of drugs seem discrimination of crime. So there is another one that is like a horse tranquilizer that they do there. It's fentanyl mixed with crank and a horse tranquilizer. Yeah, you think it can't get hardcore? There are people mixing up crank now with fentanyl. So what you have to think about is these were normal people at one time. No one ever asked to be a drug addict. You have to remember that. And remember that you only can control about what you do. And you only can worry about yourself and how you're going to react to situations. I'm just letting you know. So fentanyl, like I said, was created in the 1960s as an anesthetic. Yes. So an anesthetic is basically when you're put under and, like surgery. Yes, anesthesia. They made that originally in the 1960s. Even though opium has been around for thousands of years, this is how fentanyl came to the United States and to the doctors. So I was wondering, what happens when you take fentanyl? At the end of the video, I do have a precise list of the side effects of fentanyl and a good article that I will read at the end of this podcast. But for now, I'm going to talk about why does fentanyl kill you? This is so scary, you guys, because I was thinking when you're overdosing, you're taking a nap, right? You're just sleeping and you just drift away and no, you are suffocating. Your body actually like shuts down. Your respiratory system shuts down and you basically suffocate. That is how you pass away. Now, 2 milliliters of fentanyl, which is like 1/10 weight of a penny, can kill you. It works fast. Even though it was developed in the 1960s in a very, very strict market where surgeons used, in 2013 is when it actually came out. When fentanyl came out. Yeah, where it became to be processed way more in a bigger market. So I wanted to go back and figure out, so what started the opioid epidemic in America? And like I said, it was pure greed. So in the 1990s, what started the opioid addiction was OxyContin. OxyContin was a painkiller that became so addictive, people were doing heroin. Now I learned this, you guys, so, okay, when you guys go to a doctor, rather if it's like Riverside, Centera, what have you, let me know down in the comments below if you guys see this, because every time I go I see this and my brain is forever like changed, okay? When the opioid epidemic came out in the 1990s, the distributors and the people who created opioids changed the concept of pain. Yeah, you heard that right. 150 years ago, in the 1800s, doctors thought pain was a good thing for their patients. They thought they wanted their patients to feel pain because it raises the cardiovascular system and it also raises the healing process. So when anesthesia came out in the 1800s, doctors did not feel that it was right. You know, they were like, I want my patient to feel pain during surgery and all that. Yeah, that's whether here or there. That's insane to me. Like, I cannot imagine. Can you guys imagine that, having like open surgery and you're awake and you feel yeah, no. Horror, nightmare, fuel. No, thank you. So I'm getting back to when we go to Centera or Riverside, where we're back there, okay? On the wall, have you ever seen these smiley faces that go from like not pain or terrible pain, and the emotions change on those faces that are on the wall? That was developed during the beginning of opioid sale United States. In the beginning, that OxyContin came out in the 1990s. Isn't that insane? They basically changed the concept of pain. They were basically saying pain is bad. Nobody likes to be in pain, which is true. But they basically made pain to be way more, like they changed the actual concept of pain. Yeah. So when you would go in the doctor's office during those times and say you're in like the worst pain, 9 times out of 10, those doctors would give you opioids. In the beginning, the doctors were very apprehensive about that because they went to medical school and they learned the dangerous side effects of opioid use and how, you know, everyone got high and died and it just messed up your pain receptors. Am I right? But again, guys, money, 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 bribing. Yeah, that goes hand in hand. Now, please do not come for me in the comments to say, oh, all doctors are bad, Katie. I am not saying that. There is good and bad in everything, but I'm just telling you how it started. And when you go into the doctor's office and you see those smiley faces, you're like, oh my gosh, this was because of the start of opioids. It's not funny, excuse me. I laugh during awkward situations. Okay. So like I said, OxyContin is a painkiller, and it is like kind of like heroin. Yeah. But it's expensive, okay? So what's cheaper than heroin and OxyContin? Fentanyl. So the creators of OxyContin actually made so much money because they literally changed the definition of pain. There were doctors that were very leery, like, I do not want to describe this to my patient. Why do I need to describe this to my patient? You know? But you have the drug representatives, the people at the pharmacy, they're like, oh no, you cannot get hooked on it. It is not addictive at all. Like, we're fine. Everything is good. We have studies, like some bullcrap studies about how it's not addictive. So they literally changed, like, laws to keep opioids on the market. I know. Insane, right? So FDA actually declared opioids safe. Because when you do that, who's going to argue with you? The, drug representative is going to be like, look, it's FDA approved. Food Drug Administration passed it, so you can give it to your patients. Oh yeah. The start of the opioids that are pretty much like Steve Jobs to Apple and everything is the Sackler family. They are the founders and the family who have most profited from the opioid epidemic. These people are like more than, well, it goes to like oil people, like so much money. They're like where the Rockefellers are. They have billions of dollars just profiting from people's death. Because what they would do was they would give OxyContin to people who really didn't need it, and they got hooked. And then what they did was they just raised prices, or they made it so unaffordable, but these people are hooked, so they're going to get it any way they can, which is sadly off the streets. But of course the Sacklers say that is not true. A person does their own thing. A person abuses. Our drugs do not do that. Yeah, I know. Sackler family? I'm going to go and talk to Renazi. I apologize if I said your name wrong, but he is retired DEA. He is a hero, in my opinion. He literally led the brigade and regime to stop prescription drug use. To stop, not all of prescription drug use, to stop these really strong opioids being like handed out like candy to patients. He literally worked so hard. He was bribed, he was threatened, but Renazi, there we go. Renazi was like, no, there's people dying and we have to make this stop. So it was so messed up because he was like the head of the DEA. But again, the people that he was trying to bring awareness to people and to stop the manufacturing of opioids and everything like that, or to just decrease the sales, they fired him. They built up lawyers and stuff, and they got people to fire him. And it was just so sad. So now he goes around the United States and talks to people like a motivational speaker who will listen, and he tells people their stories about how opioids are affecting the United States. So Renazi, you're my hero, dude. Keep on fighting. I see you, okay? But he did try to warn the government about the abuse, but of course, money, money, money. Money, you guys. My God, the opioids and the epidemic made so much money that they literally changed laws to make law people keep selling opioids. Oh yeah, guys, I'm going to get to that. Yes, the three main people that sell 90% made so much money that they changed the laws so they can keep selling the product. Yeah, I know. I was like, oh my gosh. In the 1990s and early 2000s, opioids were everywhere. There were these little pill mills that were built kind of everywhere from Florida to the Appalachian Mountains. And it was essentially a crack house. You had these doctors who were kind of not really doctors, and they would have the prescription. They would have Xanax. They would have OxyContin. And people would go in there and be like, hi, my back hurts. And they're like, okay, I'll write you a prescription. Excuse me. Wow, I can't believe I said that. Prescription. Woo. And what they would do, they would be like, pay in cash. Like, all these pill mills wanted cash. And the DEA did crack them down, but I couldn't believe how many pill mills there were across the United States. It was more at one time than McDonald's. Oh yeah, I remember seeing those when I saw something that says pain management or something like that. It didn't say like Med Express or urgent care. It just said like pain management. And what I always thought, it was kind of like yoga, you know, my stupid, naive way of thinking. But yeah, they would literally have these doctors. You would go in, people would line down the street to go into these places and get prescription drugs. And there were investigative journalism that actually, they walked in and said, hey, what hurts? And they're like, my back hurts. And they're like, well, do you want this? Do you want that? And they were like, oh, do you want methadone? And of course, the investigative journalist is like, sure. And you realize, oh my God, they're making these people into addicts. It's like, it's a crack house. Okay, so we talked a little bit about opioids and OxyContin. And OxyContin has, it has like, I remember people, when I was younger, I would hang out with people and then they would be like, go in the other room, Katie. And I'd be like, what are you guys doing? Like, what are you? And I saw them snorting something. And now, as I'm older, I'm like, holy crap, you were snorting OxyContin. So it was more than just prescription drugs. Like, in my little naive mind, I didn't understand. Like, I mean, I just didn't realize how it became like a party drug, okay? So you're like, OxyContin, so what's worse than that? Like I said, fentanyl. Yes, fentanyl, the worst thing ever. Okay, I take that back. Fentanyl is not the worst thing ever if you use it for what it's used for. Like, you're dying of cancer. You're in horrible, horrible pain. They literally made fentanyl lollipops. You heard me right. It looked like a lollipop and you would put it in your mouth and put it around your mouth, and it was for dying people. So that makes sense. You know, you're literally dying. There's no rhyme or reason. There's no hope, which is really sad. But that is why fentanyl was marketed, but it was too much of a tight market. So in 2015, investor John Kapoor invested in pain relief. And he started a company called INSYS, INSYS, to market a drug called Subsys, SUBSYS, Subsys. It sounds like this gross Greek goddess that's gonna kill you or something. Okay, so what Subsys was a fast-acting spray device for fentanyl. Yeah, they made it look all cute and stuff. It's like purple and it's like, it looks like some kind of an inhaler, and you just spray it. But of course, people are like, why would people want to use this? This is such a tight market. I don't understand. And of course, Kapoor is really pissed because he was like, I developed this product. It could help people. It could help their way of life. But what he, I guess, didn't realize or didn't care, it is 100 times stronger than morphine. And like I said, it was beginning to sell to cancer patients. But he wanted to find a loophole in the FDA to have them marketed to a bigger market. Now, he started hiring these drug representatives. Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, they did, the people did put OxyContin and opioids to justice. They did. And you know what happened? Pretty much a speeding ticket, you guys. I'm serious. They had all this evidence that this drug is killing people and we need to stop it or we need to regulate or something. But what the drug companies did, money. They settled on like, I think it was like 224 million, which is like a speeding ticket to them because this company is worth billions of dollars. Yeah. That was the first case. And it was so sad to people because they were like, are you kidding me? I've lost loved ones. I've lost people who were normal and then they get in a car accident and are prescribed these drugs to feel better and they get hooked and ruin their way of life. Yeah. So like I said, guys, money. Okay, on back to John Kapoor. Okay, so Kapoor was very angry that he made this drug in a sprayable form. You know, like the, yeah, I know. Who the would, all right. So he was like, well, I need to push this. I need to. So he started lying and he started hiring all these representatives, and these representatives were like bribing. Yeah, they were bribing health officials. One of the lead ones, Berkaloff, yeah, he got his day due, but not really. But he led a whole bunch of drug representatives to people, and he was basically, you know, mentored by Kapoor. And Kapoor really wanted him to sell, and my God, did they sell. In 3 years, that medication made $300 million. They bribed doctors. They also misled insurance companies. And they also, yeah, and you're like, well, how did they do that? Well, when insurance companies call and they're like, why should we, you know, cover this drug? And they're like, oh, well, they're like, is this for a cancer patient? And they would be like, oh, breakthrough pain, yes. Breakthrough pain, yes. Just misleading words. And then, or they would talk really fast, like they knew what they were talking about. And the insurance people are like, okay, yep, approved. And all these prescriptions got approved for the spray fentanyl. Yeah, I know, it's insane, right? The 3 companies that want to be in the dark about this, I'm about to shed the light, y'all. Shed the light. So McKesson, Cardinal Health, and AmerisourceBergen, they wanted no comment about this. And, you know, they just want to be not known. They actually just don't want to be talked about or anything like that. Well, guess what? Sorry, not sorry, okay? They are the reason, because there is, they are the reason for the opioid markets, because they sell 90%. Yeah, but they want to keep low profiles. No, I'm sorry. If you are cause of all that death, you need to be known, okay? Sorry. So there were 487,842 overdose deaths. Yeah, involving opioids. In 2000 to 2019, excuse me, from 2000 to 2019 in the US, 487,842. Like, that number, are you kidding me right now? In 2019, 10.1 million Americans misused opioids. And at least 1.6 million Americans were addicted. Representatives for the Sackler family also insist that opioid addiction from prescribed OxyContin is excruciating. This is a wild word that is not usually used in sentences. I don't know if I can say it. Excruciatingly rare. So kind of like excruciating pain, LY. Okay, so excruciatingly rare. Yeah, that's definitely a hardcore adverb right there. So you have all these people that are trying to stop, and I'm doing more research, and I'm like, okay, so because then there were trials in 2017 where the people who and the representatives and the people, they got in trouble for bribing doctors, and they got in trouble for, you know, doing misinformation. But again, you guys, money. Yeah. I think this guy named Lyndon, he was like this powerful attorney that was actually fighting the opioid epidemic crisis. He was fighting it, and he was fighting it for a few years, and then all of a sudden he switched and he became the bad guy. Money, guys. And we're talking about millions of dollars. You had straight up law people, representatives. I saw both things horribly as well. So you had Obama, who received the bill, barely didn't even look at it and just let it run through. Then you had the Trump guy hire someone who was for the prescription. So there's evil in both. It's unreal. Like, I was like, why isn't anyone regulating or stopping this? So their plan was to make OxyContin a little, what they say, to make more of it. Yeah, so the people won't go to the streets because they're so addicted. So let's make more OxyContin. How is that going to solve anything? But that's what they think they should do. They think they should make the drugs more expensive and make it easier. I mean, I couldn't even believe it. How does that make any sense? Can someone let me know down in the comments below how that would make sense to make more drugs? Because the drugs are made for pain relief, which the opioid people changed the definition of pain. People would go in with like, I got a backache, and they're like, oh my God, are you in chronic excruciating pain? Here you go. And whether it's an opioid, OxyContin, Vicodin, Percocet, just hardcore drugs, people get hooked. Some people don't, but people get hooked, and they're hidden in things. They're hidden in things you wouldn't even believe they are hidden. At the end of my podcast, I'm going to be reading an article from Behavioral Health Center, and it talks about the symptoms of fentanyl usage. Dizziness, nausea, vomiting, slurred speech, swollen hands or feet, constricted pupils, insomnia, hyperactivity, incoordination, sweating, muscle aches. Besides the physical and mental symptoms of fentanyl addiction, behavioral symptoms are also common among those with this disorder. Someone suffering from the disease may fail to take care of their daily responsibilities, foregoing essential health and hygiene in favor of obsessing over fentanyl. There will be poor performance at work or school, and is often the result of fentanyl addiction. A person may take frequent sick days or just fail to show up, leave when they want to, and they may also visit multiple doctors to obtain prescriptions of fentanyl. So when you need immediate medical attention. So fentanyl is a powerful drug, which we talked about, and too much of it can be deadly. So what happens with other opioids, those who abuse fentanyl run the risk of overdosing. In 2017 alone, nearly 70,000 of overdose deaths in the country were caused by opiate like fentanyl. Because it's such a potent drug, a fentanyl overdose should be taken incredibly seriously. If a person takes a deadly drug dose, they should seek medical attention immediately. There are a few telltale signs that a person has overdosed on fentanyl: inability to walk, dizziness, sudden fatigue, impaired thinking, clammy skin, slurred speech or inability to speak, disorientation, limp body, slow breathing rate. And these are the mental health conditions that fentanyl or opiates can cause. Major depressive disorder, schizophrenia, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, or abuse of a non-opiate substance, usually alcohol. Yeah, that is from that article. That is incredibly sad, you guys. Just really sad. So we are all human, and we all go through pain, whether it's mental, physical, what have you. Do not go to opiates. But as I said, a lot of people don't have the choice. They are prescribed saying that it's going to be okay. And I've known quite a few people that were prescribed drugs by doctors and who have passed away and who made them overdose. Yes. So my advice, I'm not a doctor, okay, but I'm just someone in this little computer box who cares about you. Go and get help. And maybe go for the indigenous healing or holistic healing. And I will put some links down below to help you in a mental kind of sense, because, you know, mental health is very, very important. And also, before go to opioids, make sure it's your last possible resort. I mean, I don't want you to go on them at all. Like, don't. But if it's if you have to, make sure it's the last, because I don't want you guys to end up as a statistic. And there's so many people out there that are. Thank you so much for listening or watching. I hope you enjoyed this different format of a video. Please know that you are loved and cherished. And I will put down the links below of the documentaries that I saw some of this information. It is a lot. It is really, really sad. And I think we need to do more to stop it. I think we need to educate people more. I think we need to, now there's tests that you can, it's like a little strip and you can put in the drug to see if there's fentanyl. Okay, well, we need more of those. Thank you. There also needs to be, like I said, more education. There needs to be centers. There needs to be more shelters. There needs to be more help in the mental health care system. There's so much that needs to be done. And I'm reading like how much money things are to do things and like solve world hunger. And it is a lot of money, don't get me wrong. Some of us will never, a lot of us, sorry, will never make that money in our lifetime, but there are people out there that have so much money, it's sickening, that we could stop the opioid crisis, that we can give people education, we can give people clean needles, you know, we can give them the help that they need. Sorry guys, I just went to like a tangent. I'm just gonna have a sip of my coffee. Maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. Oh yeah, Food Lion brand coffee with Nespresso as a gift. I don't know what else to say, guys. I mean, I wanted to know more about fentanyl and I went down a sick rabbit hole of just corporate and greed. Please take care of yourself. I love you guys so, so much, and I can't wait to see you on the next one, okay? Remember, you are doing better than you think. Bye.